Hi, thanks for joining me today for the second installment of a brand new video series I started last week called Healthy You. So here we are. I'm sitting here having a healthy cup of coffee, having a healthy conversation with you all about health. You see what I did there? I have cheesy jokes for days. It's one of my gifts, really. But I'm grateful to be chatting with you. Last week I got some really great feedback from people as we talked about cultivating gratitude, and I got to hear so much of what people were thankful for and the ways in which gratitude is causing them to experience new levels of not just emotional health, but spiritual health and relational health, and really have a ripple effect in every area of our life. And that's what I believe that health looks like. I think then when we apply godly wisdom and we actually seek to learn from Jesus how to live healthy lives, then we experience health not just in one area of our lives, but in every area of lives, and regardless of the circumstances happening around us, because truly we can flourish in every season and under any conditions. And I pray that you experience that as you listen to these videos and start to cultivate health in your own life. So today we're going to talk about another practice for health and how to become the healthiest versions of us we can be, and that's by exploring this concept of rest. What does it mean to replenish and refuel? I believe that we should work hard. My dad always said that to me, and I'm grateful for the work ethic that he modeled and taught me and my sister to commit to. I just read an article actually in Women's Health giving advice on how to act like you were super busy at work without having to do the work. Now, Women's Health has a lot of great articles, but that one, come on. Why in the world would you put effort into looking like you were working when you could be using that same energy and focus to actually work? It's important that we work hard, that we don't just skim by and do the bare minimum, that we use our gifts and our talents, our time, our energy to be faithful to the jobs we have, to be an example of Christ-like character in our careers, to challenge ourselves and stretch ourselves with new responsibilities, and to be resourceful in making a difference in the world. And we can't do any of that without some real hustle, so we should work hard. And many of us do. We work, we contribute, we serve, we give, and because of that, we need to intentionally create space to refresh and refuel. A true sign of maturity is recognizing that and investing in your own rest. It's not just a good idea, it's actually a command from God. In Exodus 20, God reveals the moral code to live by, and that when we do, we reflect God's justice and his goodness on the earth. We know these as the 10 Commandments. And what's fascinating to me is that one of the 10 is devoted to this idea of rest. God commands his people to honor the Sabbath, which is a day a week where we cease from working and we honor the day as holy. Because God created the heavens and the earth in 6 days. And on the seventh day, he rested. And when we create the same pattern of work and rest in our lives, we honor God and experience the refreshing that we all need. This commandment is not only clear, but it's placed in the same category as do not murder, do not commit adultery, do not steal, do not commit idolatry. These are some pretty strong and appropriate commands to live by. And a commandment devoted to rest is thrown into the same mix. Because according to God, work without rest is just as important as issues of murder and idolatry and lust and greed. In other words, our rest and not just our work matters to God because we need it. We need a day away from our work to remember that we are more than our work, that our value is not in what we produce or the paycheck we take home or the position that we currently hold. We aren't what we do. Before we are workers, we are children of God. Our work can't provide us with a sense of identity. And it can never provide us with a complete sense of security. Our jobs may be how we receive provision, but they aren't our provider. That honor and power belongs to God alone. Rest keeps us from finding our identity and our security in the wrong places. And it's also physically and emotionally good for us. We need time to refuel and rest. Ask any respected health physician and they will agree with me. I want to encourage you to work hard to carve out a day to honor as the Sabbath. I myself am a recovering workaholic. You're looking at her. And so I understand if the idea of having a day away from work seems impossible or unrealistic. But I believe that for most of us, probably like 99% of us, at the moment, it is actually possible. It'll take some planning, perhaps working an extra half an hour throughout the week to create a true day off. It will take some restraint, maybe turning off your email on your phone for the day or even turning your phone off for the day. Don't worry, it's okay. It'll still be there when you come back, right? I promise. And it will, above all, take some intentionality to use that time off each week wisely, because there is a difference between refreshing and escaping. The Sabbath is not an escape from work. It's a refreshing so that we can re-engage in the work, So many times we fall into this escape trap, we're so tired and exhausted from stress and anxiety and just not taking care of ourselves that when we finally do take a day off, we end up eating junk food in front of the TV, binge watching Netflix for the next 24 hours straight. When we're burnt out, that actually does sound enticing. The problem is that usually after a day of escaping, we don't feel any less tired than we did the day before. Why? Because we weren't intentional with the time off. We didn't do what was refreshing to our souls. We simply escaped for a minute, stimulated by entertainment and distractions. But those alone can't actually nourish the soul like the presence of God can, and healthy community and interests and explorations. So the question is, how do we create Sabbath and not just escape with a day off? Well, this is where you can pray and plan. You can be led by the Holy Spirit and have a sense of self-awareness. You can sleep in, you can read, you can go see a movie, you can grab coffee with a friend, you can work on a project at home, you can visit a museum, you can go hiking. Listen, the possibilities are endless. But whatever you choose to do, keep these in mind. Number one, the Sabbath is a time to honor God. So make sure there's intentional space to be in the presence of God and receive refreshing and direction from the Holy Spirit. For me, I always give a bit more time for reading my Bible and worshiping, and the Holy Spirit brings me refreshing and encouragement and new revelations of who Jesus is and what it means for me to follow him. It's amazing. Number two, the Sabbath is a time to connect with healthy, life-giving community. So get around refreshing people and have fun. Make memories and engage in thoughtful and encouraging conversations. Don't hang out in negative environments and engage in toxic conversations. This is a time to be refreshed, not to be dragged down or emotionally exhausted. So just stay away from the drama. Number three, do what works for you. My husband, he likes to start a day off by sleeping in. I like to start my day off by getting up a little early and getting some good coffee drinking and Bible reading time in. My husband thinks I'm crazy because he has a different way. Listen, to each his own. Do whatever works for you. I have a friend who loves to paint on her day off, and she makes space for that. I know someone else who wants to go out and do things because they need to be active to feel refreshed. Others like to organize a closet or work on a house project. To each his own. Play around with your time off. You might discover interests and creativity that you didn't even know you had. And number four, finally, this is really important. Don't think that you are the exception to the rule. You might be listening and you're thinking, sure, most people need days off, but I'm fine. Like, I can run hard. I don't need to take a day off. I just need to get stuff done. I hear you. I thought the same way for a really long time. And I was wrong. Sorry, but that's how it is. I was wrong. I thought taking a day off was a sign of weakness, and that if I wasn't always hustling, stuff just wouldn't get done. When I began embracing the concept of Sabbath, I honestly did it because I wanted to honor God, and because I felt convicted by the Holy Spirit to do it, not because I actually wanted to rest. I thought I would be missing out, that I'd be missing out on important work, that I'd fall behind on deadlines, that I wouldn't be seen as this overachieving person who just gets the job done if I took a day off. I thought all of those things. And when I began embracing the Sabbath, the most extraordinary thing happened. I discovered that it was the most humbling and healthy thing I could have ever done for myself. I was humbled because I quickly discovered how much I really actually need a Sabbath and how much better I worked the other days of the week having had one. And I became healthier because I began feeding places in my soul that had been now malnourished, Because I chose to honor the Sabbath in my life, I actually began to experience new levels of health. I began making my personal health a priority. My relationships began to flourish in new ways. My relationship with Christ began to get stronger. My work became better. And my emotions became more stable, or at least easier to understand and be aware of. And in every area of my life, I truly began to flourish. That's my hope for you. I hope that you make space, whether or not you even think it's for you. I hope you see this as an experiment in honoring God, an experiment in seeing if the Sabbath actually will provide you with rest and replenishing, because you need it and you're worth it. So I pray you make space for it. Take a day off, explore, experiment, spend time in the presence of God, spend time in life-giving community, and discover new ways to nourish your soul. Hey, Let me know. Let me know what's working for you as you try a day off with intentionality, not escaping, but actually practicing a Sabbath. Let me know what you do on your day off and how you honor the Sabbath in your life, so we can swap some ideas and create some creativity and encourage each other that as we rest, that we are not what we do, and that God is working behind the scenes in incredible, miraculous ways, and that we will see his provision as we trust him and honor him. Till next time, talk to you soon.